The UK is on fire. Today I'm in West Yorkshire. I'm in a place called Cottingley. It's just outside Bingley. And as you can see, this place has been on fire. It has absolutely devastated the area. I think about 100 metres by 150 metres, so a reasonably big area. Definitely when there's all these trees and the impact this has, which I will be discussing later, it is pretty devastating. And this isn't just an isolated incident. There has been so many fires over this year so far. It is absolutely crazy. Not far away, nearby Huddersfield, there has been 2 in recent weeks. And it's not just specific to West Yorkshire. Scotland has seen some of the worst of the fires. The Isle of Arran, the Isle of Skye and the Highlands all burnt to a crisp. So to put some numbers to this year so far there has been 286 wildfires in the UK. That is 100 more than during the same time period in 2022. So this issue is definitely on the rise. So far this year, 95 square miles have been burnt. But what exactly is causing this? And what can we do to prevent it? Before I go into exactly why this is happening, it's important to understand why it's actually an issue. This is a nice location. I've been here a few times, had a little walk around. I did actually record a video here a long time ago, making a Subway sandwich. You probably have not seen it. And it's a nice area, but this is also happening to places that are even nicer than this. For example, Goat Fell on the Isle of Arran has been burnt. It's such a beautiful location there. And to think that now part of it is just completely black. And it's not just how it looks. It's also what it is doing to the ecosystems in these areas. The loss of plant life caused by the fires leads to soil erosion, which then reduces the capacity of the soil to retain water and ultimately affects the area's ability to support life. Peatlands are especially vulnerable to wildfires. When it burns, it releases vast amount of stored carbon and can smoulder underground for weeks. A big issue is when areas like this burn, you've got to think of the animals, especially the ground nesting birds, reptiles like adders, and also small animals like voles. This is their habitat at the end of the day. This is where they live. When it burns down, that is the end of their home. Often the fire itself will actually kill the animal, but if it doesn't, it's lost its house and it's also lost a lot of the food source for the area, so it might end up dying of that. Luckily, this isn't a huge fire, but some of them cover miles, and this absolutely devastates the local wildlife. One thing that can vary from place to place is the recovery time. So this depends largely on the severity of the fire, but the resilience of the ecosystem also plays a part. Some landscapes may take years to recover, which is pretty scary. But what's even worse, that is in some cases, the original biodiversity will never return to what it once was. So why has there been so many fires this year in particular? Well, it's a few things. One big factor, and probably the main factor, is the weather. It has been really dry recently. We've not had much rain at all. And I'm really grateful for that because I've been able to go out, enjoy the sun and walk about, and it's been absolutely lovely. But the flip side of that is these areas are becoming so dry, creating the perfect conditions for a fire. But then again, it has only been 20 degrees. We've had warmer weather than this previously and not as many fires. So it's not just the weather that we've got to blame. There's another really important factor. And if you hadn't already guessed it, it's humans. So in the last 4 years, statistics show that 85% of fires are caused by people. That means the majority of them are caused by us. Maybe not me, maybe not you. Maybe it's the guy you walked past at Tesco yesterday. So how are we causing these fires? How are humans causing such destruction to these beautiful landscapes? Well, there's a couple of ways. The first one, cigarettes. I know quite a lot of people do this. Oftentimes when I'm out, you'll see the end of a cigarette and someone's just chucked it there. Usually, it's a minor inconvenience, it causes litter, and it's not very nice to walk around places where there's litter. But when it's been really dry, it has a lot bigger impact. If that is still just a little bit lit, that could be the start of a fire. The ground around here is so dry. All it takes is a little spark and it's up like this. It can be something so insignificant that can have such a big impact. Another issue, barbecues. I know, the sun comes out and you want a barbecue. Everyone does. But there is a place and time to do it. Going out to the woods when it's been really dry and having a barbecue is not really a good idea, is it? All it takes is a few embers from your barbecue to blow up in the air. They land in some very dry vegetation. And before you know it, your little barbecue has ended up turning into this. And no one wants that, do they? Another thing that could play a part, but it's probably not a huge factor in this country because we don't get really, really hot temperatures, but is glass bottles. People who go for a few beers in woods with their mates, chuck the bottles, and then they just sat there baking in the sun. That could potentially create a fire. Although I admit, that probably wouldn't cause a fire in this country. It might do if we get some really hot weather, but it's pretty unlikely. But the main point is, no one should be littering in these areas. So if you know anyone that just chucks the odd bottle because they can't be bothered finding a bin, then let them know. You can't be doing that. You don't know what kind of damage you're going to cause. And then finally, deliberate arson. Are these people doing it because they're pyromaniacs? Maybe. Is it just kids who are doing it? Maybe not deliberately, but they're just going out, creating a fire deliberately, and then it gets out of control. I know it's like when I was a child, I used to go out and make fires all the time. There's something so exciting about making a fire. You feel like you're a caveman almost, but there's a certain way to do it. And obviously that seems to have got lost somewhere. People need to learn how to make safe fires when the conditions permit and when you're not going to turn it into an absolutely huge fire like this, because I don't think anyone wants to do that. Maybe a very, very few people. I think a lot of it is people just going out with their friends, having a little fire, having fun, and it gets out of hand because they don't know what they're doing. For this reason, a lot of places now have a ban in place on barbecues, naked flames, and anything similar to that. And you can see why. This is absolutely devastating to have beautiful areas like this just absolutely destroyed. And because of how many fires there have been recently, more national parks are calling for this ban. And to be honest, I kind of agree with them. So the big question, what can we do to prevent this from happening in the future? And it's actually pretty simple. It's almost common sense. If you want to have a barbecue, make sure you have it in a safe place. Use your common sense. If there's loads of dry stuff about, don't do it there. Go to your garden or somewhere safe. Just use your common sense. It honestly is quite simple when you think about it. To address the issues with cigarettes, yet again, a simple answer. Do not throw cigarettes out of your car. Do not throw them on the floor if you're on a walk in the woods. Just take them home with you and put them in the bin and make sure they're properly put out. I know this kind of stuff is not stuff probably anyone watching this would even consider doing, but I feel like even if just one person watches this and thinks, you know what, every now and then I do just chuck the end of my cigarette out, and if this stops them from doing it, then this video is worthwhile. Similar to cigarettes, if you have any other litter like glass bottles, don't throw them. Common sense. Also, naked flames, and this even includes camping stoves. If you're in an area that is pretty susceptible to fires, just think twice about using it. If you're gonna use it, make sure you are extra careful. But to be honest, I'd just recommend not using it if you're in an area with loads of dry vegetation. I know sometimes that might not be avoidable, so if you do need to use it, make sure you're using it safely. The same goes for fires. Even though fire's not really ever necessary in this country, unless you are actually freezing to death. But if you are gonna make one out in the woods with your friends, make sure you're making it in a safe way. Make sure you have enough water to put it out if it gets out of hand. You can even get portable fire pits now. Consider getting one of them. Then you're not even burning the ground at all. But again, if it is a dry area, maybe just give it a miss. If it's so dry around there, it's probably kind of warm, which means you probably don't need a fire. It might be nice to have one. Having a nice fire just as the sun goes down, lovely. But think about the impact it could have. Is it really worth it? I would recommend, if you do see anyone creating a fire in the woods, go over, be polite, have a little chat with them. If the kids, they're just out there trying to have some fun. Kids don't think of consequences. They wouldn't think that a little fire could turn into something like this. Go have a chat with them, explain to them the danger, give them some advice on how to do it safely. And if everyone works together, this issue can be easily prevented. Obviously, if you see a fire unattended, go over, try put it out yourself. If you don't have the capacity to do that, get on the phone, ring up Fireman Sam and get him down to come sort it. Because if you leave it, that could turn into a huge fire.